Good morning at Dublin for the very last time in this uh, virtual conference week 2020 edition. I think it's time to kind of like wrap up what has been discussed, spoken. We were having a wonderful first day of the Yocto Project Summit already, including a very lively and funny evening reception, at least for those of us who um, were like in an evening time zone when the first day ended. Scratch what I just said. I won't do a recap. I don't feel like it. I have already recapped each day for, as it is. Let me just point out that I've been like watching the beginner track for quite some time, and we have had way more than expected people actually participating in it, and also for the number of people who have asked for hands-on virtual machines for tomorrow. It is way above expectations. So first, thanks to all the trainers and people behind the scenes who have been working very hard to make this happen, especially our wonderful admin Michael Halstead, as well as a thanks for everybody joining and making this such a huge success. So we can really try and push uh, this kind of outreach forwards. Okay, so I think the one thing about pointing out or recapping from yesterday is that the hot topic is, as usual, containers these times. I think we've had, or containers and meta virtualization. I think we have had 4 talks about it, 5, depends a bit on how you count. So let's look at what is coming up today. Today is the hands-on day, which means that those who have registered for an instance get to do real work in terms of getting stuff done with the Yocto project on SSH machines, reachable machines. The first class there will be kernel lab hands-on by Bruce and Trevor. Hopefully Bruce is on a better connection than yesterday. That has been quite a bit problematic. Hopefully it will be like that, because if he actually gets round to do it, which we all hope, of course, then this is basically like a perfect combination, a match made in heaven. Trevor, as a very experienced teacher and trainer consultant, as well as Bruce, who is basically the kernel god of the Yocto project. So this is as good as it can get for you to actually see that stuff in action. Well then, Code Scanner by Jan Simon. I think this is more like a peek into what other people are doing to look into their bills. I am not exactly convinced that it is of high interest to the bigger audience. So blame me later, but I would actually say that if you do not have a particular use case for this, I would rather spend the first half an hour just over there and listening to the two of them, like ramping up and setting the stage. Maybe you can also take out something for you. Then, on the other hand, high quality layers is a topic that is extremely high on our priority list, and therefore this is basically the go-to session for you, especially if you are a hardware vendor. If you are a hardware vendor and or BSP vendor, please look at this talk and try to learn your lessons to minimize the number of mail bombs that your users do want to send you. Then a Scala development with the extensible SDK by Kim. I personally do not have a real use case for SDKs slash ESDKs, but I know that it exists, especially just as Kim points out, in an environment with hundreds of developers, they can come in very handy. And then also good morning, Marco and MK number something, who is just in the chat. Let's just say it's good to know that the SDK and especially the ESDK exists, know what they can do, and also do know what they cannot do. They are not like a silver bullet that will solve each and every one of your problems, but they can be helpful. And therefore, this talk might be interesting. If you are just like a single warrior, not team, but person, then this is probably not of real interest to you. Okay, then DevTool Hands-On by Paul Eggleton. Paul Eggleton is the mastermind behind DevTool. So this is basically learning from the master himself again. This is also a topic that I will would recommend to watch, if only in excerpts. If you're not working along, I'm absolutely convinced Paul will show some nice features and workflows. Then pros and cons of various layer management tools. Let's just see. I have intentionally not looked at the abstracts before doing the good morning, so that we are all on the same level. And good morning, Preminex. Git submodules. Okay, pros and cons of Git submodules, repo, cast tool, and the combo layer utility. Yes, I think we can all agree that those are the four prominent choices these days, and that all of them have pros and cons. However, I would probably say that this is something where watching the video and the presentation is probably enough. So this is more of a takeaway session as much as I would guess. This is something that you would put on your mental to-do list, and once you find the time and have a decision to make on that, then pull it out again and revisit what those tools can do for your specific use case. I think that's how I would use that presentation. And yes, I have perfectly recovered from my dishwasher performance, as well as I have prepared a breakfast for the whole family, which was mostly well received. Okay, user space lab by Rudy. Let's just look at what he does. Okay, packaging, package installation scripts, and system services. That's what he claims. Well, if Rudy has been around forever, he wrote the book on the Yocto project. This is basically like if you're starting out and writing recipes, follow him along. What do we have? Security hardening with the Yocto project by Scott. I can learn. I will use tabs from now on. Let's just see what he says. Move on to security features and metadata layers. This is certainly something you can take away and watch when you find the time for it. I would, in the context of the user of the project summit, I would certainly like rather spend the time getting in touch with people and discussing on Slack or watching Rudy. I'm absolutely certain that Scott has a whole lot of interesting stuff hidden in there, but this is not something that you have to do in this very moment. Pre-built software development in an OE way. Pre-built management. I totally have no clue what this guy will be talking about. Seriously, no clue. This is like playing the lottery. This can be pure genius or outright awful. Just decide for yourself. Then, software updates with Rock, the Yocto project, and Open Embedded by Leon. Again, this is a classic topic these days. I would say the most interesting part of this talk is getting in touch with others who have the same interests and exchanging experiences and pitfalls and caveats that you have run into. I'm pretty sure that the content of the presentation in itself is interesting, but again, not something that you have to like watch at that very specific moment in time. This is like more an occasion to find out who is working on the same area. If you do not have a proper update solution at the moment, or if you are needing to revamp yours, then this is your go-to. Yocto project documentation migration to Sphinx. This is a war story by Nico. One of the absolute most important things about this migration is that we will hopefully finally get Google to link to the current / up-to-date versions of our documentation. Because for reasons that we do not know, Google likes linking to the 1.6 and 1.8 releases, which are both massively outdated. So every now and then somebody steps into support and says like, but I've read this and this and this. And we say like, yeah, but that was like 5 years ago. And this is basically our approach to get this sorted out. Plus, Nico is the community manager. I think there's nothing to be said about a closing talk because it will be talking about closing. And the April Summit Social. Last year, somebody said that the beers were were extensively appreciated. As we all know, after a whole day of Yocto projecting, beers are always appreciated. So I will hopefully also make it. It was a very nice crowd yesterday for the first evening reception. So I'll hopefully make it again. You can see my another dishwasher performance maybe. And well then, hopefully see you on the next live coding session on the next Yocto Project Summit. Let's see what new stupidity hits my mind, which I can annoy you with. Thanks everybody for watching. It was an intense week, and well, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, follow about everywhere that you can find me. Well, take care and stay safe.